Hello, so for my book talk project, I chose to read In Cold Blood by Truman Capote, and I've never really read true crime before, but I've watched my fair share of documentaries, and I think that this genre is super interesting, and I would give this book a 4 out of 5 stars. So one thing I really liked about this book was the point of view, which is a third-person omniscient point of view, which allows you to see into everyone's thoughts and feelings. So I got to see into the minds of both the killers, Perry Smith and Richard Hickok, and I got to feel the emotions of the Clutter family before and during their murder, and it even expanded from there. It expanded to the detectives' feelings, thoughts, and opinions, and even the community members. So it really showed the impact that this crime had on everyone in the community and the state of Kansas and all of America. One thing I didn't like though was also the point of view, because it felt unneeded at times because I got some people's perspectives that just didn't feel necessary to the storyline. At one point we had the warden's wife's opinion, and I just felt that that was unneeded because it didn't give me any new thoughts or feelings. It just kind of made me bored, so it wasn't really important to the storyline. But another thing I disliked was that I was left empathizing for the killers, which made me very uncomfortable, but they were written in a way to make you sympathize for them. On page 244, it says, "I knelt down beside Mr. Clutter. In the pain of kneeling, I thought of that goddamn dollar, the shame and disgust." So that's Perry Smith saying that he felt ashamed and disgusted with what they were doing, and you feel sorry for him because he feels ashamed and he's feeling guilty, and you just want him to stop, but he doesn't seem to be able to. And another quote on 241 is from his confession when he says, "I saw a big cardboard box leaning against the wall. Well, I didn't feel I ought to ask him to stretch it on the cold floor, so I dragged the mattress box over, flattened it, and told him to lie down. This mattress box had been placed on the floor for the comfort of Mr. Clutter." So that really shows that Perry Smith was trying to make the Clutters as comfortable as possible before he murdered them. And that makes you feel kind of empathetic towards him because you know that he's a good person in his heart and he was trying to make them comfortable, but it makes you feel uncomfortable because he then proceeded to murder them. So that made me a little uncomfortable that I was empathizing for the killers in this book. So the main theme in this book is the darkness of humanity and the dark things we're able to do, but the underlying theme that I saw was mental illness. So throughout the entire book, you're kind of left wondering if Dick and Perry are psychopaths, if they're sociopaths, if they are mentally ill. And it's finally confirmed on page 302 when Perry's doctor says, "Mr. Smith attacked Mr. Clutter when he was under a mental eclipse deep inside a schizophrenic darkness." So that really shows that it proves that Perry was schizophrenic, and that is the root reason why he committed these crimes and atrocities. And throughout the entire book, we get a strong sense that Dick is psychotic because he sometimes says that he wishes he had murdered one or two of the Clutters so he could have the accomplishment of murdering them and being a murderer. And I think that no person in their sane mind would think that. So that really shows that he is psychotic. And on page 245, the detective says this crime was a psychological accident, which really shows that the mental health of these characters is the main reason that this murder happened and why these atrocities were committed. So would I recommend this book to anyone? Yes, I would, but only to the person that likes true crime and psychology, because if you don't like true crime, it would not be super interesting to you. And it's also for the older audience, as there's a lot of gruesome themes and some darker themes and scenes, so it's definitely for someone who likes true crime. So next I want to talk about the idiom in the title, In Cold Blood. When you think of cold blood, you think of a calm and meditated action. You think of meaning and just overall peace. And when this murder was committed, these two characters were angry and seemed like a passionate crime. So In Cold Blood really seems like a juxtaposing image, and I think it really enhances that story too, because it makes you feel that they were calm and they planned this out when really they didn't, pretty much. And one other thing is the ending. I can't really change the ending for the characters because they were hung at the end because it's a nonfiction story. I can't change it, but the ending lines just talk about the beautiful sky as the detective walks away from the grave of the Clutters, and I think that that ends on a really peaceful note, and it gives you closure, and it just makes you feel calm after all this darkness. It kind of gives you this kind of uplifting, hopeful, kind of outlook, and I think that that's a very good way to end this story. So yeah, I would recommend this book, and I really enjoyed it. So thank you so much for listening.